what's up everyone? This is Sasquatchy Mush with Breaking Bales. Going to be making sterilized grain jars today. But first, please give us a like and a follow and comment on how I might be able to improve on these videos. Just getting started, but there's going to be a lot more videos to come. So this is everything you're going to need. First, you're going to need obviously your ball jars. You can use either the lids that come with them. That's the easiest, cheapest option. We can use a modified lid, and I will have a video on how we make these lids. And we can also use a grain bag. You'll need some paper towels, a strainer, some kind of cookie sheet. In this video today I'm using corn and a pressure cooker. First things first, we're going to get this grain cooked. I'm using the Jolly Time white popcorn. It's readily available at places like Walmart. It will make about 1.5 times the weight of the bag. So this is a 2-pound bag, so this will make about 3 pounds. So we're going to get it cooked, get it in your pressure cooker. We can use tap water because it's going to be sterilized. Get about 1 inch or 2 of water above the top of the grain. Now, once you get your grain and the water in the pressure cooker and on the stove, we're going to turn that on high heat, and we're going to let that get up to temperature and put the lid on and let it get up to pressure. Now, the cheapest and easiest way to do this is just using the regular lids that come with the ball jars. All you would need to do is just make sure you turn that lid over upside down before screwing the ring on. This way it doesn't form a tight seal. It allows the jar to breathe as it's building up pressure in the pressure cooker so the jar doesn't explode. What you'll want to do is, once you get the lid on upside down and the ring on, just cover it with some tin foil so that way water isn't able to get into your jar and overhydrate your grain as they're cooking in the pressure cooker. The next way is to use a modified lid. We do have a video on how to make these modified lids. They're really nice to use. The lids this one has a little seal in it. It also has a filter patch and an injection port. So once you get your grain in here, we can screw that lid down on tight. And we do not need to open this back up to inoculate it. That filter patch allows the jar to breathe as it's being pressure cooked, and it also allows the grain to breathe as it's colonizing. You have your injection port, so you can just use your isolated spore syringe to inoculate the jar directly without ever having to open this back up. Makes for a much more sterile environment. A lot less can go wrong. We recommend using something like this modified lid if you're doing the grain jars. Or you can use these grain bags. These are the unicorn bags. You can find another brand. These have the filter patch built right into them, so they're able to breathe. The mycelium's able to breathe as it's colonizing. Once the water's boiling, we're going to go ahead and put the pressure cooker lid on. Make sure that you have read the instructions for whatever pressure cooker you're using and know how to use your pressure cooker that you have at home. Now we're just going to let this get up to pressure, and then we'll set a timer for 15 minutes. Now the pressure cooker is up to pressure. I'm going to cut the heat back and set a timer for 15 minutes. Alright, our timer just went off, so we're going to go ahead and turn the stove off, get this off the heat. And I'm going to use my towel to carefully remove the rocker weight. We want to go ahead and get this depressurized as fast as possible so we can get the grain cooling so it doesn't become overcooked. Now that it's depressurized, I'm going to carefully remove the lid. I'm going to use a towel. Steam is going to come out. It's still very hot in there. And I'm going to go ahead and get this corn poured into my strainer. Now, when you do this, you do want to run some cold water into your sink, so that way this hot water doesn't mess up any of the pipes under the sink. And go ahead and get that corn cooled off. That way it doesn't become too mushy. You want the corn to be softened up a little bit, but you want it to be able to hold its original structure and shape. Corn has become a little bit soft, but it's not exploding open, so this will be really good for our grain jars. Now we want to take our cookie tray and go ahead and line that with some paper towel. We're going to put our corn on top of the paper towel so that way it can dry out a little bit. We want it to dry enough to where the corn itself isn't wet, so there's no extra moisture or water on the outside of the corn. So just pour it straight out onto your cookie sheet with the paper towels. Kind of spread it out nice and even. And then I like to put a little bit more paper towels on top, just so it gets all that water on top of it off. Just kind of press it in a little bit. Now we're just going to let this sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it should be plenty dry. The corn should be good and dry now. You can tell, like, when it becomes kind of sticky, that's all the sugars and starches being released from the corn. That's what the mycelium feeds on. You'll see that the corn will sort of stick to the bottom of the paper towel. That's when you know it's pretty good to go. So I'm just going to rake all these back off into my corn. Now, when filling your grain jars, you don't want to fill them up all the way, because after the mycelium starts to colonize, you're going to want to shake this up. So you want to leave room for that shake up. So you want to fill this about 3/4 or a little more full. But you want to leave enough room at the top, again, to shake it. So with this is a modified lid, so I can screw this down completely tight. Filling it just a little over 3/4 full. This is the regular ball jar lid, so I'm going to put that lid on upside down so that it's able to vent as it's cooking in the pressure cooker. And before this goes in the pressure cooker, I'll wrap the top with tinfoil so that way water can't get inside the jar. Now with the rest of these grains, I'm going to go ahead and stick them in this grain bag. If you do use the grain bags, when you go to substrate, you are going to want to know the weight so you can make the right ratio. So you want to get a weight on this bag. So this is about a 2-pound bag. Alright, now we're going to get everything back into the pressure cooker. You're going to fill the bottom up with some water. Now your pressure cooker should have come with something like these. These are the cooking racks or cooking basket. What I do is take one of the cooking baskets, put it in there upside down. Got the tray on top. Our grain jars and our bag will go right on top of that. Keeps them up off the bottom of the pressure cooker, so that way we don't have to worry about them getting too much heat, possibly melting the bag or breaking the glass of the jars. So once we get that filled up with water, we'll get it on the stove and get it heating up. So as I mentioned before, we don't want the water from the pressure cooker dripping down directly on top of these lids. So with this one, we're just going to wrap it. That way all the water stays out of the jar. With this one, we don't want that filter patch getting wet. So we take a little piece of paper towel, cover that filter patch, and then wrap tin foil so it holds it in place. And these are ready to go into the pressure cooker. Now with the grain bag, we're just going to refold the bag back onto the gusseted folds that it came in. I'm going to try to get it nice and tight as possible, and then just roll the bag. Now when this goes in the pressure cooker, we don't want the filter patch touching the outside wall of the pressure cooker or going into the water. So we're going to make sure that that's up on the side facing inward. That way the patch doesn't melt. Those are all nice and ready to go inside the pressure cooker. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on and let it get up to temperature. The pressure cooker is fully up to pressure, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the temperature back a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and set a timer for an hour and 30 minutes or 90 minutes. Once it's done cooking, we'll let this depressurize naturally and we'll get it unloaded. Now that the timer's gone off and the pressure cooker has depressurized naturally, I've got it down here in the lab and I'm going to empty it in front of my flow hood. If you don't have a flow hood, it's not a big deal. I know lots of people who have all these flow hoods and all this equipment, and they have really high contamination rates. The big thing is being clean. So I'm going to be cleaning my hands with 70% isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to clean the pressure cooker off. And I'm going to make sure the surface area where I'm going to be setting my jars and the grain bag is sprayed down with the isopropyl. So that's how we make our sterilized grain in both the grain jars and in a grain bag. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like and a follow, and please comment like what videos you'd like to see. Thank you.